Welcome back. Welcome back.
Clean it up. Clean it up. Clean it up.
Clean it up. Perfect. Welcome back to Greenbox Gaming plays Delta Green, Impossible Landscapes. My name is Joe. I am the handler. I'm joined by three of my good friends. I am joined by Brad, playing our U.S. Marshal Hank Ellis. I'm
Hello.
joined by Dace, playing Benji, the blues historian.
Howdy, y'all.
That is Dace's character voice, not his real voice.
No,
Those of you.
I'm switching it up this week.
Are you gonna method act this now?
It'd be amazing if you manage it.
This is me, Dice Ruthven.
And this is me, Benji Potts.
You just doxed yourself, by the way. Congratulations.
I mean, and that's everybody knows everybody's last name on podcasts. That's not
Yeah, fair
doxing
enough.
myself.
Yeah. Anyway, and then I got Jean playing
Hey.
Benedict, and he is our he's the smooth talker, journalist, editor, and I think someone who just recently crossed someone off of their bonds list, which is kind of fun.
No.
Oh, man.
What are you looking at? What are you doing
Me?
over there? Yeah, you.
Me?
Yeah, I thought you were
Nothing.
participating in a podcast, or are you just kind of doing your own thing? What's up?
Maybe he's got two going at the same time.
Are you doing two podcasts? Are you cheating on? Are you streaming this to another channel?
He's a businessman.
I was going to wait till, after we were live, but yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, I've been picked up by another podcast, and their whole thing is doing a podcast while you're doing your main podcast.
A
Oh my
podcast
God,
within a
that's
podcast.
genius.
This is a fucking gold mine, actually.
Yeah.
Are y'all looking
Alright.
for talent?
Yes, but you're not invited.
Oh.
Fuck. Burn.
So I have a question for you guys. Here's the top of the episode. I was with my wife last night. Was it last night?
we
The night
don't
before?
need all the
went-
details.
It's okay.
A
You're
little
right.
too much.
That's
Alright.
This is Twitch, so it's like you gotta stay within the agreement there. But we went out with some of her friends from work, and I was talking to, like one of the other spouses who was there. Me and this guy were talking, and we were talking about like what we did, and I was like, yeah, I'm in school and blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, this is the job I do, and then we slowly broached this subject. It came up like that we were talking about movies. He's like, well, yeah, I kind of watch like a little anime. I was like, oh yeah, me too. He's like, oh, okay. But then it came out it was not a little anime. Not that he was just like a total weeb, but it was like there was a hesitancy there. You know what I mean? To tell people that you consume that media. And
I
then,
do a little heroin.
No. Alright, I also think there's a distinction to be made between anime and heroin. Alright? It's call me old fashioned.
All right.
I think you're going to be on the wrong side of history on this one, Box.
Fair enough. But then it came up. He was talking about. He's like, "Oh yeah, I also play this game. It's like, it's Dungeons and Dragons." I was like, "Yeah, me too. I played Dungeons and Dragons for years. Like blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh yeah," and like it was one of those things where it's like people are so hesitant to share that like you're involved in that kind of hobby for fear of like, kind of like, being labeled like a nerd. Like, do you guys deal with that, like in your own work or like out there in the social sphere?
I don't not tell people in my work because I'm embarrassed. I just don't want to have to be bothered with explaining what the fuck it is. Because they are
Matter of simplicity.
so far removed. Like, for the people that don't know, I work in an extremely blue-collar welding and fabricating shop in Memphis, Tennessee. And these people are so far removed from the concept of Dungeons and Dragons that it would just like baffle them. And
Right.
that's not a tree that I want to bark up.
I mean, that's fair. I had a pretty hard. I was asking like one of the people I go to school with about some like social media stuff because I was unfamiliar. I'm trying to educate myself on it. And she was like, "Oh, like what's your podcast about?" I ran into that where I'm trying to explain to someone who has never been in the same zip code of this stuff, as far as I can tell. Like, what is tabletop role playing? She's like, so you just pretend? It's like, yeah, yeah. When you put it that way,
Slippery slope, man. I mean, before you know it, we might be wearing pointy hats and throwing tennis balls at each other.
LARPing, man. It's a slippery slope down the LARP.
You know what? Fucking, I bet the LARPers are having the same discussion right now. They're like, this D&D guys, like, you try and explain that you're just trying to LARP, and they're like, not even the same fucking LARPing. Zip code. And then they make fun of us. They're like, throwing tennis balls around.
You're so right. You're like, hold on, magic missile! Yeah, as I was saying.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah, I don't know. It is, like, when you think about it, it is quite a weird thing for people to sit down and agree to do as adults.
Did this fellow, after he got up and he came out that he was into anime, did he run from the table with his arms behind his back to his car?
He did not. Not that I wasn't looking out for it, but he did not.
All right.
So I do a little Naruto running every now and then.
Just a little bit. Oh yeah, me too.
Let me quickly grab your beer.
Oh man. But yeah, it's
I
disagree
with that. I don't think it's necessarily a weird thing people have been telling stories for time untold, like since the dawn of Homo sapiens, and before that, honestly, probably. And this is just another form of storytelling. The only difference is we have like a set of rules to abide by. That's the only way it's evolved this century.
I'm sure we'll be right up there with Homer.
One day, the whatever humanity evolves into will look back and be like, this impossible landscapes with Greenbox gaming. What did they mean by that, though? Like, what did it mean?
We'll be etched on pottery in a museum.
Wait,
we're gonna have the Greenbox Gaming logo like etched on some
the GIF spinning
pottery in a volcano. Yeah.
Why are we graffitiing why are we putting our logo in a volcano? That's not a terrible idea.
How do we get on the pottery?
I was because I said Homer earlier, like the guy that came with the Iliad.
Oh yeah.
And you were comparing us to ancient storytellers. It's not as funny if I explain it, Dave.
Please, can you go a little bit more in depth for me?
Yeah.
Because you see.
So, I think this is a good time to actually get into playing this fucking week's game. Jesus. Alright, so, here we are. The team is still in 1995. Not still in 1995 like you're supposed to be somewhere else. I don't want to give you that impression.
Oilers.
Yeah,
right?
Wow.
Oh my god, wow.
You guys are in 1995, New York City. It all started as just a job trying to actually figure out even what is the unnatural influence in this missing person's case for this artist, Abigail Wright. The team, Hank, Benji, and Benedict, have tracked down a lot of things, and at first it seemed kind of like a cold case, that you weren't going to get anywhere, but as you began to dive into the building and some of its tenants, things started to get stranger and stranger until eventually you guys found your way to this other place that seems to be accessible from the McAllister building, the apartment where Abigail lived, during the night, and it has been so dubbed the Night Floors, which is actually the name of this operation, canonically in the book. You guys have journeyed in, found out a bunch of different stuff, I think, but it seems like you've ended up with a lot more questions than answers. Who is this? You've heard the name Darabandi. He has something to do with this was figure in this mirror and with murdering children, with the construction of this place. Who is Lundeen? Has something to do as well. You guys have run into several characters like Mark Rourke, who seems to live within the night floors, or that's where you've seen him, who tells you that Abigail's gone. She's gone to the upper floors, and that you don't need to follow her. You've got everything you need right here. You ran into Mr. Castaigne, tells you he's the night manager. He runs the place for the Super, who also tells you that he's from a strange, faraway, war-torn country called Carcosa, which piqued the players' ears, at least. And I think probably the most noteworthy that once you guys came out... Oh, yes, you also managed to rescue another stray within the night floors.
Oh, yeah.
Who is, is it James Langdon? Was that his name? No, I can't even remember.
David.
Was it David? Is that what it is?
David Langford.
Yes, David Langford. He was apparently a cable repair guy who accidentally entered the night floors and was unable to escape. You guys ran into him. He said he'd been there for months or weeks.
Probably safer in the night floors than with us, to be honest.
Yeah.
What? We're so good at saving and protecting people.
Right. Well, eventually you guys came out and were able to deposit David, Jeremy, and Michelle Van Fitz with your Delta Green contact with Agent Marcus. And he disappeared them into the back of a carpet truck. And
saved them. 3 people saved.
Saved them. Pardon me. I keep using this very judgmental language. Saved them in the back of a carpet truck. And then you guys kind of went along your way. Where we left off, probably one of the more interesting things that happened is that old Benji Potts got up to some light reading in the last episode. He read a strange book called A World
Leroy
Without
on
Doors.
John.
Oh, never mind.
Whoop. Okay, sorry. Jumping the gun. He read a interesting book called A World Without Floors, which seemed to it had a character in it, a character named Abby, which seems to be a bit more coincidence than coincidence. Written by this Emmeline Fitzroy, which seemed to just describe some things that were going on, and then of course, as Dace was saying, actually read the copy that you guys found of the King in Yellow, that you guys found in Michelle Van Fitz's room. This caused Benji to unwittingly kind of pass out in his fugue state and kind of came to in a coffee shop playing a strange song that he had never heard, he never intended to play, and when asked for his number or his contact information, he found himself unable to write down anything other than the yellow sign, pass it on to a hapless passerby who just happened to be at this poor coffee shop. So, that is where you guys are. It is, we're going to say it's, around noon. It is Saturday, August the 12th. And I think you guys had a few questions. By this time, Benji, you have come out of your state. Leave you to decide what you want to do with it. Jean, and with Benedict, you have handed over. You have saved these 3 people.
Thank you.
And
Credit where credit's due.
yeah, and I'm actually not sure where Hank is right now. I think you just kind of gone home. But actually,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I think that as Benji, as you are exiting this, as you are exiting the coffee shop, guitar in hand, and again, you have no idea where this guitar came from, and you are exiting this. You're exiting the coffee shop, and you look down at the guitar, and you kind of take a trip back. It's warm. It's August. You walk out into the heat. The heat blasts you in the face as you do, and you are reminded of several years ago. You're standing in probably one of the hottest, most hellish places on the earth, Clarksdale, Mississippi. It is a balmy, summer day. I mean, it just sticks to you the second you walk out from any air-conditioned building. It's like the water just condenses on your skin like a cold glass of soda. You walk outside out of a what could really only be described as like a tourist trappy kind of knick-knack stand. You are at the intersection of what is the intersection of these two highways where this is supposed to happen with old Robert Johnson?
Benji would know this.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. It's Highway 1 and Highway 8. It's the intersection in Clarksdale, Mississippi. I googled it, and you were told, Benji, you are interested in the history of the occult and the blues, the supernatural and the blues, and as you'd mentioned, kind of in character creation, that Robert Johnson's this character who supposedly sold his soul to the devil to learn how to play the blues, and you kind of made this pilgrimage down to Clarksdale, Mississippi, and I don't know exactly how Benji feels about what he found. You got here, and there's this gaudy sign with these guitars on it that at the intersection of the crossroads, and there are all these people taking pictures, and there's kids running around, and there's like a big museum there, and there's someone dressed as the devil with a guitar, and you can take a picture with him. And stuff like this, and it's in the middle of the day, but it's hot, there's loads of tourists around. How does Benji feel about this? And he's kind of came here to look into some serious shit. Like, how does he feel about this?
Oh, definitely disappointed after all the build-up. He's probably exhausted from the heat. He would probably just maybe want to take a load off and get a cold drink somewhere. Maybe there's a dive bar around he could go to.
Yeah, there is. There's it's not on right there at the main strip because that's a little more family friendly right there at the intersection. But you do manage to find a place that's kind of quiet, kind of dark, a little bit off the beaten path. Looks like it might be a little bit of a local watering hole. You walk in and you find a seat. Benji finds a seat, and there's a bartender who asks you, what he can get for you.
Can I have a gin and tonic with a little splash of olive juice and hot sauce?
The guy raises an eyebrow, prepares it right there, pushes it forward, and just kind of watches you like he wants to see you take the first drink.
I've seen people kicked out of bars for less than that.
It's the middle of the day, so there's not a lot going on.
Yeah, this is Benji's go-to drink.
Okay.
He sips it and he's like,
just like Mama used to make.
That's a guy asks you, he says, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Greenville. How about yourself, sir?
Right here in old Clarksdale. My daddy's place. He points around.
Well, has it always been like this? Has it always been such a sort of a touristy area?
He laughs. He says, no. My daddy, him and his dad built this place, and it wasn't always like this. But when the local flavor gets out, old Robert Johnson, he wrote enough songs, and they built the museum over there. And, keeps the lights on.
Well, that's actually the reason that I came here. I'm a little bit of a researcher myself, and I was researching old Robert Johnson. I was trying to find that intersection where he supposedly sold his soul to the devil. And I guess I found it, but it wasn't quite what I expected.
He kind of smiles, and he's like, well, it's, it is what it is. That's it. Right down there. There's something about this guy. And you know, Benji comes back to this bar for the next few weeks. Stays in town. Asking around, and the thing is everyone gives you the same. It's like you ever watch a police show, like a like a detective police show, like CSI or something, and like two people will have the exact same story, and the investigators will say, no, it's not right. Their stories are too similar. Like they talked about it. That's the feel you get. Everyone's giving you the exact same BS. About, nope, that's it. That's where he sold his soul to the devil. Blah blah blah. But you've been there, and you've been there for a few weeks, and Benji's really kind of starting to think about giving up and just going back to wherever you're studying. And one night you sit there in front of this guy, and his name's Oscar. You sit in front of Oscar one morning, or one day, one evening, whenever it is. And you say something to Oscar about it, that you're maybe thinking of packing it in. And Oscar takes a look at you. He leans forward. He says, there's a lot of looky-loos, and a lot of folks just want to come take a picture at the crossroads of the devil. But no, Benji, I think you the real deal.
No, shucks.
He says, he's like, I'm getting off in about an hour. Why don't you join me round back?
Oh, God.
I think you might have misinterpreted the nature of our relationship.
he laughs. He laughs real hard. He says, no, ain't nothing like that. I'm going to take you to see somebody. Somebody you want to talk to.
Okay.
Don't make it weird, Benji.
Just take a long drink of his gin and tonic, and
he tells you. He says, "I'll get you another."
Yeah, he's gonna need several more.
You meet Oscar. He gets off work. He loads you up in his beat up ass pickup truck, and he takes you out in the middle of pretty much bumfuck nowhere. And there's this little old house. Little country house, and it's all leaning over the side. He knocks on the door, and you hear, "Come on in." And he walks in, and he says, "Miss Dolores, this is the man I was talking about." And you see this older woman. I mean, she has to be like maybe 90 years old, like elderly, sitting there in front of a TV, with her blanket over her lap. Old, and she's a black lady, and she's like withered, and like her skin is taut around her skin. She looks up, she says, "Oh yeah, the man looking for the right crossroads, or the wrong crossroads, maybe."
The wrong crossroads? Benji Potts, ma'am. Pleased to meet you. What's your name?
Yes. My name is Dolores, sweetie. I'm going to tell you what you came here for. But, because Oscar, he done right by me. He says you're not just one of them tourists. But I'm going to tell you what you need to know. But it's a bit of a warning, too. I was about 16. Just minding my own business. We were down at a honky-tonk. And this man, this young fella, he just stumbled in out of the dark, middle of the night. He called himself Robert Johnson. His eyes, it was all crazy. He had this guitar in his hand. He started playing the shit out of that thing. And man, we was dancing and moving and jiving. We didn't ever heard nothing like it. And we got done with that thing. We said, where'd you learn to play that thing? He looked at us with a cold seriousness. He said, I was down at the intersection of Clock and 95. And I met the devil at midnight. And he gave me this here guitar. Now I'm going to tell you right now, because Oscar done vouched for you. He said you're smart. Don't go down to Clark and 95. There ain't nothing down there. Nothing for you. Go back where you're from, Benji Potts. Go back home.
I sure do appreciate the information, Miss Dolores.
Well, y'all have a good evening. And Oscar Oscar comes in with an armful of firewood and puts it down and by the fire. She thanks Oscar. And Oscar drives you back to the bar. He lets you out of the truck and he says, "Well, Miss Dolores done told you. What you do with the Benji, that's between you and God. I wish you the best of luck, brother." Shakes your hand, drives away.
They really misjudged Benji if they thought he was smart.
That was a huge hit and a miss. Swing and a miss.
He's got a certain worldliness about him, you know. You didn't know Benji's going to that intersection. He can't not. Pursuit of the truth.
You check your watch and it's about 11:30. You pull out your map because it's like the 90s. You pull out your map, your paper map, and you find the intersection. Clark Road, which is a county road out in the middle of nowhere. And you head out. You get there about 10 minutes before, and you're just kind of sitting there in the middle of the intersection. You don't really know what to do. I don't know, what does Benji do? What would Benji do to prepare himself? Is there some type of ritual that he does, or something that he's heard of to try to contact these people, these entities?
Does Mama have another drink? Benji.
He pulls out a flask of gin and tonic and hot juice. And, it probably would have brought his guitar with him. Just kind of maybe sitting there on the side of the road, like noodling to pass the time.
As you're doing that, as you're noodling, as you're just kind of plinking, after a little while, it's a dirt, gravelish road, and you hear that telltale sign of someone walking. That crunch, 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 out of the darkness. There's no street light out here. Like, I don't know if you're sitting on the, like there by your car, like in the headlights or something. There was no light out here. Crunch, 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 crunch.
He stops playing and his ears perk up. He starts looking around.
Every time, as you stop playing, you stop hearing the crunching. You go back to playing, you hear the crunching again. Crunch.
Oh, wow.
Crunch. 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 Getting slowly closer and slowly closer. And just as you, go to turn around, Benji, looking around him, he hears, clear as a whistle right in front of him. "Let me see that guitar you got there, boy."
Does Benji just hear the voice? Can he see anything?
As you turn back around, you see a man standing in front of you. He's wearing a suit, a nice suit, really nice suit. You wouldn't say almost like a zoot suit, like that kind of style. He's got a fedora to one side. It's kind of dark, so everything's in grayscale, as it is when it's really hard to see when there's no light. You can tell that his lapels are brilliant gold. And his suit is bright yellow.
Yeah. Benji, almost like in a trance, will just slowly hand out the guitar and be like,
"My name is..."
Trail off.
"Who are you?"
The guitar is snatched from your hands, and a hand reaches down and grabs your wrist, and before you can resist or say anything, all of a sudden you hear, "Boy! Boy!" You open your eyes, and you're laying on the side of the road, guitar beside you, with all the crickets and grasshoppers and the dry grass all around you buzzing around, and there's some old farmer-looking guy standing over you. "You okay? You drunk?" It's the middle of the day.
Am I still at the intersection?
You are.
"No, sir. I don't think so."
I nearly ran over you, damn it. Sleeping in the middle of the road like a moron. Get the hell out of here before I call the police.
"Can you give me a ride, sir?"
Oh, your car's there, still.
That's right.
He said, "Is that not your car?"
No, I stole it. I'm a bad boy.
Well, Benji Potts, you stand up and you pick up your guitar, and you pick it up and you give it a quick strum, and there's just something about it, like it's just right. It's tuned. Perfect.
Oh, mama.
And as you look down and you hear that and you feel that oppressive heat down on you, we slowly kind of fade back to 1995, New York City. You're there with the guitar in hand. The heat, the oppressive heat, the sound of grasshoppers is replaced by street noise and people moving and cars going by.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, the yellow suit. Wow.
yellow suit?
This is not his first rodeo.
No, Benji's Benji's already dipped his toes. I think that was established in character creation, but yeah. So yeah, here you guys are. You guys don't have to like completely get in the nitty-gritty of how you meet up. If you want to meet up, say so. Tell me what you want to do.
What time of day is it?
About noon.
Yeah, I guess Hank would go back to the apartment.
Yep, Benedict too.
I guess we can say we established like a time to meet up at the apartment. Well, I'll just go there.
Well, we have we also have the home base. Right?
Yeah, we
It's
do.
just like this abandoned apartment.
Yeah.
Will we go
Right.
there or just back to the Wright girl's apartment?
Well,
Feel it?
just something to mention is that Benedict, he did sleep at home, but he also decided to bring in the canvas, the blank canvas, and instead of keeping it and squirreling it away at home, he brought it to the home base.
Okay. Back to the apartment complex. And even for
Yeah.
anyone watching, the apartment complex, or anyone who sees the VOD, this is what they mean by the apartment complex. This is their crazy conspiracy board, which is built in that abandoned apartment complex. So yeah, you bring your weird blank canvas as well as you guys all finally meet here around noon, 1 o'clock.
Well, fellas, Hank says, I don't know what to make of this. Seems like every time we go into the night floors, it's becomes more and more of a maze.
Well, we did find out one important piece of information. The founder of the building, Dara Bondi. Maybe we could do some research on that fella.
Beach, you showed up a bit late today. Where have you been? I had one request from last time. It was just for you both to fucking show up. And you came late. Do you have no consideration?
You know, ever
Well-
since you lost your assistant, you've been downright ornery.
What? I could use a good cup of tea.
He's
And I've
not
got no one to
lost,
make it for me.
guys. We saved him.
And why do you smell like hot sauce, Benji?
What is that? Is that olive oil and hot sauce?
So,
Oh, yeah.
So does Benji tell the rest of us about
Yeah,
his...
it's like
By the way, you guys, you know that forbidden, ancient, uncanny play that set this whole thing in motion, possibly? Well, I read it.
real page turner.
Honestly, I would give it about a 6 out of 10. The writing could use some work. Plotline was loose.
You mean this book right here that makes everyone crazy?
Yeah, I went a little bit crazy there for a while, I will admit. I'm only human. And I don't know, I got a little better guitar, so that's good. You guys want to hear me rip one?
No.
No, thank you.
Anyway, I woke up in a cafe, no idea where I'd been. Couldn't remember who I was, but I guess I'm back to normal old Benji now.
I leaned over to Benedict. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe you should take that book tonight.
No, thank
Benji,
you, Benedict.
You seem as normal as you've ever been, but maybe you should let us hold on to that book.
I was planning on giving it a reread, see if there's any missed.
Well, did you learn anything upon the first read at all?
Nope.
Yep. We should take that. We are going to take that from you.
This
Actually,
is my backpack.
And you can tell them about. You can tell them about the other books you read too, and you don't have to act that all out here. But you guys can be made aware of that as well.
Yeah.
Yep, I think we're gonna take that book, and I just take it from Benji's hands.
My precious, it's my precious.
That reminds me of this old book, Lord of the Rings. Have y'all ever read that? Anyway, yeah, I don't. Honestly, I think that might be the best plan of action. Honestly, is to look into this guy, the founder who made this. I mean, we don't have any idea of how to get to the what floor is it that we need to get to that Abigail's up.
They keep saying she's on the 6th floor.
Yeah, I mean, every time we go into this joint, we know how to get to the night floors now, but we just run into more different people, and we don't want another cable guy. That's the last thing we need. There's another cable guy.
I'm hoping now that I've read The King in Yellow, like maybe next time we go to the night floors that somebody will reach out to me. Maybe that's a sort of initiation or something. But that's just one plan. I think we need.
Everybody read it, and only Abigail got invited.
That was the impression that you got, that this had switched hands and everyone had seen it. Definitely, you guys had definitely talked to, I mean, you assume Michelle had read it. It was in her stuff, but I think you had talked to Roger and one of the other ones. I think they had both said that they had read it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think
it's a good
Hank
call,
at this
though.
point's all for doing an investigation on this fella.
Yeah, let's investigate art life, and I think Bondi, if he's the person, and I think Benedict will try some of his bureaucracy to get some information out of.
Well, and it's worth saying too, it's like that, you can do all sorts of searches on people. Everyone you've encountered probably has some type of history. So, get as much.
Who do we call for that?
What do you do for that?
Yeah, how do we get that information? Is that through the agency?
Well, you got to decide how you're going to. You have to decide how you're going to.
Okay.
How do you think? I mean, Hank could actually do some kind of criminal check, I guess, into this guy through the marshals.
Probably.
I think Benedict would probably just try and get in contact with Art Life and try and rent an apartment.
Oh, okay.
That could, yeah, you guys could definitely get a hold of, you could definitely go to the Art Life offices. You have their address of where that gets managed out of.
Yeah, let's go pay them a visit. That's actually much better than a phone call.
And I guess for Benji's part, I can go to the library and check out public records.
Okay, so we're kind of all splitting up and doing our own research, and they're let's go about our research and come back here in an hour. How does that sound?
All right, hands in, gang. Woman beaters on 3. 1, 2.
Benedict grips his crowbar.
I thought it was
now firmly attached to the side of him.
I thought it was lady punchers.
Lady punchers. We gotta work on.
Oh, you're talking. I was like, what are you talking about? You're talking about. what's her name? Cthulhu.
And along the
herself.
way, yeah, no, that's a good point. Benedict wants to check in on Michelle at some point, but maybe he's waiting for a
Dude,
call.
I think she's
from...
gone, man.
Okay.
She's gone.
I think you just have
He
to
wants to phone. Wants to phone Marcus.
call Marcus and be like, how is she?
How is she doing?
A scale from 1 to 10. Alright, so who is... who wants to go first, I guess? If you guys are splitting up, if that's your plan, then tell me who's going where first.
Hank's driving to the marshal's office. And just, I guess his angle would be, is there any, I'm assuming this guy is probably dead, or supposed to be dead, because this is an old-ass building, right?
Yes, it's quite old.
Yeah.
Well, I think that if you actually, look at the, this would not be difficult for you to see, there's probably like an EST, cornerstone on the building.
But more so, not even like necessarily the building, but like the guy, the actual guy. This last name, anyone with this in this family are associated with this dude. Is there any criminal records that go back that far?
Yeah, you have the name Darabandi, and so you want to look up criminal records for just Darabandi.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Can we update our skills yet with the check marks?
Yes, actually, that's a really good point.
Cool.
Go into, because you guys have slept the night, go into your character sheets and click that button down toward the bottom of your skills, because every time you fail a skill, you learn a little something. And that's the way you kind of advance in Delta Green. So you click that button, and it will automatically roll your skill increases for anything that you have had trouble with.
Wait.
Okay. So, starting with old, okay, so you're gonna go try to look crime records. So I assume you're gonna go back to work, back to the U.S. Marshals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It does not take too long for you to start to dig, but you get to the marshal's office. You sit at your like Windows, whatever Windows version is prior to 95. You sit at your computer and you type out the name Darabandi. You don't find anything of note, and certainly nothing that looks like it would have been for someone old enough to have built this building. You kind of get the impression that I may have to go down into the vault, the file vault underneath the building, where they keep all of the records. It's like Indiana Jones, where they have the giant warehouse where they put the Ark of the Covenant. It's like that, but just files, because everything's still on paper in 95, or the vast majority of it. So you get the idea that you're probably going to have to get down there. Getting down there without specific case permission, you're going to have to figure out how to do that, how to get past, those who hold the keys to that kind of stuff.
I mean, how much more explain what I have to do? I'm trying to find the girl. They know it's hush hush. I mean,
they know that you're working an operation. Your bosses know that you're working an operation with the FBI.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to play that angle, I suppose.
Okay. You get down, and Cindy is the head records keeper, and she's the one who gets to decide basically who comes behind the desk and who just has to make, requests through her. And she'll tell you that she really wants. She's like, well, I just really want a, normally I have to have a requisition for this kind of thing to let you back here. So,
Cindy, did you get your haircut?
Killing it. Alright, give me some type of roll.
What do we do? Persuade, I suppose.
Persuade, yeah.
And let me know what you got.
Success 25 under 57.
Sweet.
Okay. Well, yes, I did.
It
It's like we have a
marvelous.
funny way of making everyone in New York sound like they're a bit southern. I understand. Yes, I did. I probably can't hurt to let you back here. Just make sure you put everything back where it goes.
Of course. And you and me really should get a coffee sometime.
Yep. We could do that. When I get off work at 5, you wanna?
All right, see you later.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Well, that's gonna have a consequence.
No, come on.
What? Like you do know there's consequences to standing people up for stuff like that, right?
All right.
All right. So yeah.
Time is of the essence.
Time is indeed of the essence. All right, you start really digging. So you manage to get down there. Now give me some type of, probably like a bureaucracy roll or something, or maybe a basic intelligence roll, if that's better for you, to really start digging. And
I'm going to do
let's just see how
a basic intelligence, I suppose. Maybe? That or bureaucracy, you said?
Yep.
Okay, I'll do bureaucracy. Shit. Fail 60 over 40.
Alright, you're down here. You had originally said, oh, let's all meet up in an hour. You're like 3 hours in. But lo and behold, you do find something. You find...
Found some? Okay.
You find Yeah, you do find some information, and this is old stuff. Like, this is all stuff that's been converted into microfiche, or microfiche, however you say it. Might very much microfiche. You find some old police records. There's a man named Asa Darabandi who was apparently held responsible for several deaths. He was eventually held responsible for some of the deaths of several children, and it was over many years back in the 1910s, 1920s. And it was eventually found out that he had something to do with it. But unfortunately, before he could be apprehended, he just disappeared off the face of the earth.
What region of the United States did this happen in?
It was in New York.
Okay.
You are able to find that that it looks like he was from that before he was an architect. You find some basic information that he was some type of architect, and it looks like he had come from Chicago before he had come to New York. Let's see here.
He was from Chicago before he came to New York.
Yes.
Would I be able to find? Did he make any other buildings besides this one?
You're not really sure if that's the kind of thing that you're going to find in the criminal records.
True.
This is mainly about, everything that happened with that. He is... Yeah, it is, basically the big thing that happened is there was some type of tip was made to the police, and when they entered his residence, they found he had a list of the names of all of these children who had gone missing, some of which had been found drowned in the river. Some of which had never been found. And that's basically how they made the connection, this guy must be the one who's done it, because these names were never released, kind of thing. But again, he was, they were never able to find him. Actually, and the way that one of the other things they found is that one of his properties actually caught fire, and then when the police investigated it, they found a dead body of a child.
Eesh.
Yeah.
So there's no point in going to his residence that he stayed at because it's burned down.
Yeah, well, it was. You see that this all happened in 1950, and you see that in 1960 he was declared dead, and the case was closed.
And it was an anonymous tip, and there's no other people involved in the case besides him.
They never had any other leads. I mean, this was it was just a mystery kind of spate of children going missing, and sometimes.
Is the list of names all in the records?
Ooh, I would say actually probably yes. I would say yes.
I would definitely jot those down, and off the cuff, can I see any similarities with the names?
I would say that there is nothing specific you notice as of this moment. You haven't seen anything, though. But you have a name with over 20 children.
Definitely gonna take that. I don't know if I can do this before we meet up, but I want to see if any of these people survived or all of these victims.
Actually, real quick, when you're looking through the microfiche, you find reference to the evidence log, and you actually find the book, the actual list that they found. It is hidden as it looks. It's kind of made to look like an account book with different names, but all the names in this accounting book are the names of these children who were gone missing and found dead. And if you want to take this with you, you can, or you can just copy the names. Your choice.
I want to take the actual book.
All right. Cindy, because you made such a good impression on her, if you want to try to sneak something out to her or tell her you're going to check something out, then you're going to have to manage that with her. Or are you going to sneak it out?
I'm going to try to persuade her.
3 hours, so she's going to be off here in just half an hour or something.
Then wait till she's gone and walk out with it.
Okay, you're in there. You're just going to wait her out? She walks in. Hey, Hank, it's getting time to close up the archive. If you want to join me,
Cindy, I can't say enough about that haircut. And I'm sorry, I was a little rushed earlier. You know, this case time is of the essence. All that jazz. Let's actually get a date down for that coffee. How's
not right now.
You want to get coffee now?
Well, yeah, I'm off work now. That's what we said earlier.
Sure. Let's get some coffee now.
Okay, you just put all that stuff back, and let's go get some coffee.
Well, you know,
we have work to do, man.
This is an old case, very old. It's been closed for almost a century, half a century. I was really hoping. Could I snag this for just a day, please?
I mean, you can check it out, but you'll have to return it when you're done with it.
Sure. Yes. Let's do that.
Okay.
It's like a light
and then let's just go up here and we'll turn the lights off and we'll get that signed off and then we'll go grab a cup of Joe.
Yes, we can do that. All right.
All right, you go and you put your name on a piece of paper that says that you've taken this piece of evidence out of the archive.
All right.
And then
fine.
you
So does feelings for Kathy?
This is.
Does what?
Does Hank actually have feelings for Kathy?
Is it Kathy?
It's not Kathy.
Is it Cindy? I thought it was Cindy.
It's Cindy. Sure.
Or is he...
I see wife number 6.
I mean, I just met the woman, but seems nice enough. Oh,
okay,
the girl I like at Waffle House is Sandy, and this is Sydney.
Oh, let's go down to Waffle House and get a cup of Joe.
Let me tell you,
It's right here.
I had the worst cup of Joe there the other day.
Oh, really? I've had a very different experience.
Trust me on this. They got a different supply. It's bad.
Okay, if you're sure. So
let's go over here.
Okay. All right. So you go have coffee with Cindy. So you're gonna be a little bit out of pocket for a minute, unless you're gonna tell me you're just gonna be super fucking rude to her and just dip out.
Not that mean.
Are you just gonna be like, I gotta use the bathroom and just not come back?
No, I'll have a coffee with her. Whatever.
Okay.
Benedict is getting abandonment issues at this point.
Let's roll a charisma roll. I'm just curious.
Charisma success.
What'd you get?
18 under 65.
All right. Hey, it goes nice. She laughs at all your jokes. She talks about how important she thinks your job is. And how she's just keeping the records, but all the real heroes work upstairs and whatnot. And you get maybe the sense that or we'll say that you were able to get her phone number before she leaves, and then you guys depart. But now it's pretty late by the time you get around.
Wait, is there a second date?
Is there going to be a second date? Hank?
Well, I tell her, this case is really taking a toll on me and the whole department.
Yeah.
Maybe once the case is over with, we can have another one of these chit chats.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. It'd be great to hear more about your family, your sons. Great. Love to hear more about that.
Yes. John, Jonathan, Joshua, James, and Junior. I love them. All equally except for James. He's just a...
You're so funny, Hank. That's such a funny thing to say. It's a good joke that you wouldn't love one of your sons as much as the other one. Okay, bye.
I do not like James one bit.
You're just mumbling this as she walks away.
There's no kiss, not even a peck on the cheek.
Let's keep it professional, Days.
It's a first date. It's 95.
Yeah, come on.
As far as I'm concerned, this is the main plot line in this path now, in this whole module.
Is what happens.
Who expected it was going to turn into a romance?
All right. So let's go over to Benedict, actually. So Benedict, so that's all happened, and Hank finally gets done with that at like 6 or 7 o'clock. So what does Benedict do? Where's he go after you guys have your confab? What are you looking for? What are you trying to figure out?
Benedict goes to try and figure out where Artlife is based, and tries to get to their offices to go and pop in and try and rent a place. Because honestly, his place is a bit of a shithole, so he could actually use new digs.
I'm actually wondering at this point.
It's kind of thinking about it, but...
Alright. You follow the address that Roger Caroon gave you, and when you guys had shook him down effectively, and you make it to a small office building that has a bunch of different leased little offices in it. And there's one it's pretty easy to find, just Art Life across the glass. And you go in, and actually there's something I need to add to the old roll 20. Where is she? There she is. I'm going to add a picture here, and per usual, I have to go through all the rigmarole of... Did that not work? Alright. Pardon me for just a moment while I reload my roll 20. Because sometimes roll 20 needs to have just a nice think about things, like we all do.
Speaking of anime up top, so I just sat down and binge watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners a couple days ago. Have y'all seen this?
That based off the video game?
Yeah, but it's fucking phenomenal. As far as animes go, it is solid. Highly recommended if y'all get a chance to check it out. Oh,
actually,
Joe,
I think... Sorry, go ahead.
I also finally got around to watching 1899.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was awesome. Good recommendation.
I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think actually Cyberpunk started off as a role-playing game.
Yeah, Cyberpunk Red.
Okay. Yeah, and then they made the video game, and then I guess anime now.
Yeah. But no, Joe recommended 1899 forever ago, and then I accidentally watched it this week because somebody recommended 1893, and I misremembered what it was.
1883.
1883. 1883. If you can't tell, I'm bad with numbers.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I accidentally watched 1899, and it was fucking awesome.
All right, so did you guys see this on the screen in the middle?
Yes.
Yep.
This new picture. So yes, you get there. It's on 23rd Street and 3rd Avenue.
Yeah, I was like, is that the girl I had coffee with?
No, this is not her. No, this is
a picture for that?
I was saying, we might have to go on another date.
But this is the woman who's working there. She has like a little assistant, and the assistant brings you in, when you flash your badge and say that you have some questions about art life and about one of the buildings. Her name is Cynthia LaChance.
Hello, Cynthia.
Yes. She will tell you that she's the manager for Art Life, and that's that she'd be more than happy to help out the authorities. She's aware of the disappearance of Abigail, certainly, that police have been by and talked to her previously, but she would love to talk to you about it. She seems like she wants this, kind of like she wants it to all go away. She's trying to manage this building and whatnot. But yeah, she's black woman, 47. She seems well-to-do. She has a lot of really nice art in her office. You think this might be kind of her scene. So yeah, and she'll tell you that she's more happy to cooperate with the FBI. She's surprised the FBI is involved now.
Well, Cynthia, it's a bit of a mixed bag here, because on one hand I'm here on behalf of the FBI, but I would really like to find out whether this is a place for me, because I do a bit of writing myself. I don't know if you've heard of something called the Daily Mail, but I often just I write a thing or two. I edit. I change those words around.
Okay, and she seems to appreciate your credentials more than most lay people. Which is nice for a change, to be recognized.
Right, I just sit there in the typewriter, and sometimes the typewriter just screams at me, but nothing comes out. I'm glad you can appreciate the struggle of the artist, and I don't know.
She seems a bit confused. She's like, "So, are you here with the FBI? Or are you looking for an apartment?"
Well, we've crossed paths, but I need a quiet place, and I really wanted to figure out if this apartment would be somewhere for someone like me to settle in and get a bit of quiet time. How does this place work? How does it run?
Do you mean Art Life or the McAllister building?
The McAllister building. That's more the one that I'm interested in.
Oh, you don't need an apartment there. And it's like, which kind of throws you off. She's been very cordial, and now she seems a bit cagey. She's like, you don't need one there.
But I really love the view. We've just visited there. It's delightful in the decor.
Yeah, it's an old building, and there's problems that are kind of hard to see on the surface.
That speaks to my soul, Cynthia. That speaks to my soul. That's exactly how I am.
Oh, okay. We're not renting any more rooms there.
I would have assumed that a room would come up fairly soon.
Well, there are, and more than half the building is open, right? And she's like, well, listen, I'm gonna shoot straight with you, Agent Reasonable Pseudonym that's better than Matador. She says, I'm gonna be frank, Agent. the art life overall, the overall company, the bigger than just me here, is bought the building, like by a back in 1976 or something, and they've been looking really for any opportunity to tear the place down and start new, or to renovate it, not to tear it down to nothing, but to redo the whole building, smaller apartments, its space is at a premium, and so they're not. I've been instructed, on the down low to not rent out anything, and we've had issues getting payment for a little while now, and normally we would be, I'd be knocking down doors, because the whole point of art life is to try to enrich New York, with the talent that these artists bring, and giving them a place that they can live and do their work, not have to struggle so much financially, but I normally would be knocking down doors to try to get paid, but I've been instructed to kind of just let it slide so that they can evict everyone.
Cynthia, I met some of the tenants there, and I know that there's this darling Abigail that lived there, but how did most of these tenants apply to get a residency at Art Life?
Well, a lot of them, we have other buildings, and lots of them, it's kind of word of mouth in different artist communities. They meet each other at galleries and readings and things like that. And a lot of it's word of mouth. We do some flyers and stuff at the universities, especially, for students who are graduating and really entering the field and trying to get something out there and get by.
So can I do a human or something? I don't think she's shooting straight.
I don't want to cut in. I just want to make sure John, as a player, has seen her picture on Roll20.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, hit me.
Maybe what human?
Yeah, human. Are you trying to
figure out?
You want to know if she's shooting straight with you, if she's lying?
Yeah, I want to try to figure out why she's being so cagey, but. All right, I fail. 98 over 43.
You get the sense that she doesn't seem to be hiding anything from you, and again, they're looking for an excuse to just get everyone out of here, and she doesn't want this to be public. You think it's a lot of her motivation to kind of just make to be as cooperative as possible is to sweep it under the rug.
Right. Cynthia, do you have somebody I can talk to who is, I don't know, the manager of the building, somebody who manages the rentals, or who gets approved or not? I really do feel like this is the right place for me personally.
She'll say basically, this is a non-profit, but we're kind of funded by the Star Corporation. But yeah, we bought the building from the Star Corporation, is who owned it originally. But now I'm just operating this non-profit. I'm getting government, handouts, for housing programs from the state. So it's really just kind of me. We're kind of a small operation here. I'm the final say. But obviously, I'm trying to make it profitable, and we have a community board of directors, and they're the ones who really want to see this place, renovated and turned into, because the apartments are quite large. They want to really pack them in there.
Well, Cynthia, I don't want to overstep. It's very clear that this is a complicated situation, and I really don't want to overstep. But is there anything I can do to help? Can I help you in maybe getting some of these miscreants out?
I've never had to evict a whole building before.
I have resources. Cynthia.
I mean, to be frank, like I'm just gonna next month I'm gonna go down to City Hall and get the eviction notice signed, and then we're just gonna start clearing the place out. I really don't know if there's anything I need the FBI for.
Fuck, coming up empty here.
Brad had a good catch on about her picture.
Here, let me
I don't know if
Cynthia.
it'll.
Oh my darling, those earrings are stunning. Wherever did you get them?
Hold on, let me try to. I'm trying to bring the stream over there where it can be seen.
Thanks for that.
That was a good catch, Brad. I never would have noticed that.
Oh man, yeah, that's some good shit. She sees them. She's like, "Oh, these? Oh, I actually received these in the mail. They were, you know, we have a lot of artists, and they were, well, they
what
were.
What do they mean? What are they for?
Do you know this symbol? Actually, it would mean a lot to me if you knew what it was.
Let's make somebody else roll sanity for once.
Yeah, this is a hard one. I think I've seen that. Is that kind of graffiti? I'm sure I've seen it somewhere.
Yeah, I've looked. It's I received it a long time ago. It's it's yeah. If you ever saw this again, if you could let me know, that'd be great.
Cynthia, are you an artist? Are you an artist?
Well, I do a lot of collecting. I don't have a lot of talent myself, but I like to.
Oh my god, I also like collecting. I'm a collector, but
oh Jesus.
I've collected some things in my day. I enjoy little bits and pieces. They may not be meaningful to other people, but I've got shards of glass and a collection of empty canvases that I really am attached to. I think there's something speaks to me in them. But I don't know, Cynthia. I'm just wondering, would you be open to trading? Would you trade for those? They're beautiful. No?
No, and she protectively kind of puts a hand up to one of them.
No.
No, fair enough. I'm also very possessive about my connection.
Really thought you were going to ask her out, and everybody was going to go on dates.
It's just all this episode's going to be.
This is not going. No,
everyone's going to go on a date.
Not going well enough for a date. Can I do like an occult check on those earrings, or try and figure out if there's some way that I can describe it to her, or give her some kind of connection?
You want to tell her what this is? Is that?
No.
You're gonna be like,
no,
listen, there's this crazy book.
Let me tell you.
No. I want to try and lead her on just enough to keep opening up.
Are you trying to tell her something? You want to get these from her, or you want her to open up about something? Like, I don't really understand what you're getting at. You want her to open up. All right, give me a persuade or something.
Right.
I'll be like that if you want to. Yeah, and for anyone who's looking at this or looking at the VOD, basically, or anyone who's just listening, her earrings are 100% yellow signs.
Right. That's some important context right there.
And
you
they're
just randomly decide to ask about earrings.
Yeah.
That's a success. 4 under 51 on persuade. Cynthia, look, let's just have a real human discussion. Is there something you can tell me that would really help me get into this place?
She tells you that like I said, and keep in mind, this is 1995. She's, in her late 40s. She says that she had a brother. His name is Damien LaChance. And that he drowned 1948. And that several years ago, when she was just kind of getting this going, that she received a package in the mail, when she was just starting to set up Art Life and trying to get this going and trying to help the art community. She got a package in the mail that was addressed to her and simply had a note with it. It simply read, "Damien would be proud." No return address, nothing. Just this strange letter that her dead brother would be very proud of what she was doing. And in it were these earrings. And she says that she wears them because she wants that. Obviously, it terrified her. She went to the police. No one knew anything. They're like, well, there's nothing we can freaking do. But so she says she wears them because she wants to find, if anyone ever knew what the symbol was, she would want them to tell her. And she's disappointed that you don't know either.
Cynthia, that's a terrible story. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I did. I can't tell her. I can't tell her about the flyer. I can't tell her about knowing that stuff.
Probably not a good one.
Not a good idea. Let's stop bringing NPCs into the chaos.
You know what? Let's just bring another NPC into this situation. I'm sure Marcus has another carpet van.
Yeah, she's going to take another
so many carpets.
Trip to the carpet cleaners.
I can't think of anything else to do. This seems like a bit of a dead end, but I just played this wrong.
Yeah, she will tell you that she's like, well, listen, if you're still interested, the plan right now is to really, with the board of directors, is to get this place done up and renovated by 97. So if you're still looking for a place 2 years from now, swing back around. McAllister Building should be a new and spick and span, smaller apartments, but apartments.
Could you also make a note of? Sorry, cutting in.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, could you also put their main funding provider there as a note?
Is it called Star? No?
Well, Star Corporation was who the building was purchased from, not. She runs Art Life, so that was I misspoke. It was my bad.
Oh, still might be. Okay.
I just updated that. Alright, Cynthia, I'm gonna grab your details, because if I do see anything about those earrings that you've got, those very mysterious earrings, I will get back in touch with you.
Okay, she seems pretty happy with that.
Cool. Then I think Benedict goes back, grabs a cup of tea whilst waiting for everybody else.
Yeah, and you're done within an hour or so. So
yeah,
a conversation doesn't take you nearly as long as, like, right now when you're like going to get tea, you look over and you're like, is that Hank? Is he with a woman? What is he doing right now? Like, Hank, you look up and you see Benedict with like a tea bag and hot water raising an eyebrow at you. Just like wave him off. You're like,
yeah, essentially.
Okay. All right. Let's take it to old Benji then. Benji, what does Benji do? Where's he go? What does he do with his life?
Oh, he wants to go to that library. Two outside an art museum.
As what?
Is that the New York
Too
Public
big.
Library?
I think so. Anyway,
It's got like two big
Lions.
statues. Lions, yeah.
That's in Chicago, unless they have another one in New York.
oh, Never mind. Going to a big.
So yeah. So what are you gonna look for when you get there? Is my question.
Well, I want to look for things. So I guess we'll just have to kind of navigate. Or on one.
Dace, your audio is like you're speeding up and slowing down. I don't know if what's your signal situation.
Freaking his iPad.
I think
like
it's
cutting
iPad.
in and out.
It should pass. Maybe it's just updating quick. But
Yeah.
I think we keep going. I don't think there's anything to do.
Keep going. Let's see if it.
Okay. I have a things that I want.
Right. What's the first thing?
I'm kind of torn. I wanted to look into most was Darabandi, but I feel like Hank maybe has that covered. I don't know if there's one out.
You could give it a go, and I mean,
It was
You
just
give
the
it a go
criminal
and
side of his life. I mean, there could be.
yeah,
a ton
there are
more
definitely
going on.
things that he could not find. That obviously you do not know what he found and what he didn't find. So I will leave this to you to not metagame too hard.
That's a very good point. Benji wouldn't know what Hank found out, so I'm just going to proceed as planned and just look up Darabandi. And this is kind of Benji's shit. Like, he's a historian. Looking up stuff and records like this is his jam. Like, the fucking Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, you like walk in the library, you just like crack your knuckles. All right.
Shit, yeah.
Back home.
Well, you know, the thing
like-
is you probably have been in the New York Public Library, like the main one. Like, you've probably been there doing research. Like, you're a Juilliard graduate student, like, and you're like writing a dissertation. You've probably been here before.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Another place like.
Give me, like, probably I would say, a bureaucracy roll. Or what is your bureaucracy? What's your skill?
It's not bad. It's bring it up. I think it's like 58. Oh no, actually it's a 40. I was something else.
All right, go ahead and make me a roll, and let's see what you can find.
I was hoping history, because that's.
You know what? You're right. You're 100% right. What is your history skill?
60.
Okay. For a reminder for you guys and for anyone else, the way Delta Green works, if you have a skill that's at a certain level, you don't even roll for stuff sometimes. It's just assumed that you're so skilled in that, you don't need to. A 60 in history, you know where to go. Like, you know, it's like maybe someone asks you, do you need any help? And you're like,
No, ma'am.
I got it. You start researching Darabandi, and you find 3 books about Darabandi. I'll give you the titles. First one is The Devil's Craftsman, published in 1952. A Darkness at the Corners, 1957. And Architecture, Genius, and Mental Illness, 1961.
Or light reading.
Yep, some real casual light
These are
reading.
written by him or written about
These are
him?
about him, they seem to be.
Oh, different
Architecture, Genius, and Mental Illness.
Yes. You see that he was well known. Asa Darabandi, first name A-S-A. Asa Darabandi, which is something that Hank would have found as well. You found that he was he was considered to be this weird, like, Picasso of architecture in the 40s and 50s. He built these, or even before that, in the early 20th century, he built these things called thought buildings, like thought as in thinking, which were meant to be these buildings that would inspire like this almost like religious revelation type experience and just being in them. Some people thought that he was highly religious, some people thought that he was on drugs a lot of the time. And from what you can tell, he worked in Chicago from 1905 to 1921, and then he moved to New York in 1921 and took up residence at an unnamed Midtown hotel. It doesn't say exactly where, but there are 9 buildings that he built in New York City, and all 9 of them still currently stand, including the McAllister building. Eventually he disappeared in 1950, and when he disappeared in 1950, you find pretty quickly that he was suspected to have been at least involved, if not responsible, for the disappearance and deaths of, for sure, 5 children, maybe as many as 20. He left, and what happened, eventually, when he disappeared without a trace and his office burned down, they discovered the dead body of a young girl in his office. He left behind huge debts, and eventually in 1960, his mother had him legally declared dead. So yeah.
His mother.
Yes, his mother had him legally declared dead. So, as you, and I imagine that Benji would want to dig and actually find these books themselves as well, not just necessarily the info that's.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's thorough.
Yeah, you find a picture of Asa Darabandi in The Devil's Craftsman. I don't have it here. I don't have a picture of it, unfortunately. I don't have an asset for this. But it's a picture of him standing in front of, and this is the Asa Darabandi that you have a picture of. You know, it definitely is him. He's standing in front of a, like an Art Deco hotel with the letter B emblazoned upon each of the double doors. Big letter B. B as in boy. And the caption reads, Darabandi lived at New York City hotel, which he helped restore in lieu of payment. Roll me an intelligence check real quick.
Can do.
Can I ask, where did we get this picture originally? The picture of him?
This is what I'd given you when you guys, I think, had seen him.
I saw him in the mirror.
In the mirrors or in the comics, I can't remember. Maybe both.
It was the mirrors.
Yeah.
That is a success with a 74 under 75.
Wow.
Cutting it close, man. And technically, the way that Delta Green works, that's actually a very good roll. Like, that would be like stomping it. Because Benji's
closer gets to failing.
Because Benji's a really smart guy.
Powerful.
You're looking at this picture of Darabandi of Asa Darabandi standing in front of this building, and you see that there's a reflection, and you can kind of make out that is Madison Square Park. That hotel that he's standing in front of looks to be in Madison Square Park, because you can recognize, you're not a New York native, but you can recognize the Eternal Light Flagstaff, which is a monument in Madison Square Park.
We got a lead.
Right. Yep. I'm trying to think, was there anything else? Oh, yes, there is one other thing. There's one other thing. So you see this picture. You can take it with you. You can probably get a photocopy of it. We're not gonna deal with all that. If you want to get a copy or tear, I don't know. Would Benji just tear the page out and take it with?
No, good gracious, no.
I suppose you could just check the book out. That would make a lot more sense. It is a library.
He also has to go on a date with the librarian to take that book out.
All right. I am going to. There's something I need to. Do. 1 sec while I get this going. As you are reading the book, you looking at the picture, and what is Benji doing? Is Benji gonna check it out? Is he gonna make a photocopy? What's he gonna do with all this?
He'll check all 3 books out, and he'll just check all 3 books out, so I can do a more in-depth dive.
Okay. As you're heading out,
walks up to the librarian.
Is that a haircut? Where'd you get those earrings?
She just deadpan, no expression, like stamps
your
the
question?
date in the book and just pushes it at you across the desk.
Your question was, is that a haircut?
Is that a haircut?
Is that a haircut? All those earrings.
She says,
After I
nice
said
try,
that,
honey.
I was like, is that what I just said? I think I just...
You're on your way out, and you're on your back. I don't know. You guys had set up to rendezvous somewhere, probably, right? You're gonna go back.
Probably the safe house.
Back to the safe house. Okay.
Yeah.
You're on your way out, and you're standing at an intersection, ready to like cross or waiting for a cab or something, and a car goes by. It's like a rickety old, just like beater. And as it goes by, you can hear it struggling down the road. Just like an old sedan, it's all beat up. As it goes by, it starts backfiring. Pow! 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 Right as it goes by, it backfires. Right as it goes by, just whee! And it hits you like in your ears. And you're kind of like, you've got your finger in your ear. As you do, it's like you hear something. And at first it sounds like it's your ears ringing, but then it sounds like it has directionality, and you look across the way, and there is and your eyes don't really. You focus on it because it's hard to see. There's something sitting on the bench, but it's not something you expect to be sitting on a bench in New York City. So it takes you kind of have to turn your head. It's a record player. And it's just sitting on the bench, and it's running. And there's a sound coming from it that's hard for you to make out.
And that is a good place to put our pause in.
Well, I'm going to say one real quick. We're almost there. Does Benji approach said record player?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Alright. You go over to it, and you're looking around. There doesn't seem anyone standing next to it, and it's just running. And the little crank is cranking away, just kind of, spinning as it goes.
Where's the little monkey?
No clowns nearby.
No obvious clowns.
Yeah.
It's a good band
and
name.
I'm gonna play this for you.
No obvious clowns. It's an
Yeah.
awesome
No
band.
obvious clowns. And you hear... Sorry, I had to skip a few. Not that. Not that.
Oh, I was about to say, he's in the night rooms.
You hear this. You might have to turn it up, and then I think I might have to turn it up. So that the people listening in can hear it even.
Pretty spooky. Disconcerting.
Let me see. This is gonna mess up the VOD, but I'm gonna turn this up.
Like Arctic seals underwater. Quick, record it so that we can play it backwards, slow
Alright,
down,
quick.
and get the real message.
Okay. Okay, so that jacked up the VOD for a second, but so yeah. And that is probably a good place for us to stop for this
Weird.
session. For this episode. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. as we dig a little further down into some of the history, some of the oddness of the McAllister building and everything that's going on. How are you guys feeling about it?
Very disconcerted.
Either you're doing a great job at making shit on the fly, or we actually went down a route that was helpful for the investigation.
Well, I would never want you guys to think that you're doing things correctly. That's for fucking sure.
Oh, well then.
Oh, well then you fucked up.
I thought we were doing a great job until Joe's friend Steve said some opinion making.
Yeah, well,
and now,
you
I
guys
just don't
aren't,
know anymore.
Yeah, great. Let's get mad at our only fan base. That's a great way to build a fan base. Just call out the one dude that just listens to us.
I want you to. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear what you.
And if anybody else is thinking about being fans,
you better
we'll
stop
call
right
you
now.
out too.
Let this be a lesson.
You better watch the fuck out.
But thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for listening.
Especially Steve.
Especially Steve. We're gonna be back next week with more of this as these guys try to figure out like what the hell they're gonna do with this new information. And please join us over at on Reddit at r/greenboxgaming. There's the links to all our socials. We're on everything. We post the new stuff there. If you're interested in hearing the episodes a week early, consider our Patreon, which is also linked on the old Reddit. But, and obviously, we try to, join us on Twitch Live. We try to do this every other week so that we can put out weekly content for you guys. But yeah, we can't wait to continue on to this, and we will see you guys. For those who are watching live, stay tuned. We're going to take our quick break. And for those who are listening into the podcast or the pods, we will see you next week.
Peace out, motherfucker.
Deuces.
Bye.